But I will also add that, unfortunately, there's an awful lot of people in that position that don't deserve any respect because they don't know what they're doing. They've taken the job because, and I'm not going to say anything bad about my friends in Georgia, working, Atlanta has become the new Hollywood. It really has become the new Hollywood. But again, decisions that are made, who we're going to hire to do our production sound, often now are being made for the wrong reasons. And they're made even over the objections of a director and a producer that and I know that I've lost work where a director has said, I want Jeff Wexler on my job. I've done 4 movies with him. I know he will perform. I know he's the right person. I don't want to do the movie with anybody else. And then somebody else in production or the studio says, well, we're shooting in Atlanta. You're going to have to hire locally. And it used to be you have to hire the utility person locally. We put up with that. Even though I worked on location and did not hire a local utility, brought utility from the West Coast, somebody I wanted to work with, but I had enough power to do that. Now it's gotten to the point where, you had to hire the boom operator locally, all right? Even if it's not the boom operator you've been working with for 37 years, okay? I don't do those jobs, okay? Everything that I've done in the incentive states, and I've done a few things, I've done things in New York where they say, no, you can't bring your crew, from the West Coast. I've done all of those movies with Don Sufal. I don't want to do a movie without him, because I will not be able to do the work that I want to do without Don. So I'm offered a job shooting in Atlanta by a director I've done several movies with. Director is telling me, we can hire you, but you're going to have to hire locally the boom operator, okay? I said no, and I got to take Don, fine. Got offered another job from another director that I'd done a number of jobs with, another movies with, and they said, we have to hire the sound mixer, production sound mixer locally. I still want you on the job. Would you be willing to come to Atlanta and pay for your own hotel or pay for your own airfare? I can't even do that. I mean, it's a union violation, but this director was actually in desperation asking, the studio is telling him, you must hire locally. I don't care if you want Jeff Wexler. So I couldn't do the job. That sort of broke the flow. And, it bothered me, That's when the decisions they're not the right decisions.
Is it also based on the, we're having some comments just on, is it a union thing? Is it based on kind of credits, tax credits? Is it those type of loopholes as well? Or?
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing is, not in Georgia, but like in Louisiana, they need to, every crew person that they can hire locally gives the production more incentive money, gives the production more tax breaks.
Right.
So it isn't that there's actually a quota, but although it's a reverse quota that if you don't hire enough locals, you don't get the tax breaks. So the motivator is we have to hire as many people as we possibly can. Well, they didn't dare hire the production sound mixer locally in most of these places because there weren't any qualified, there were, for example, like in Atlanta, okay, Whit Norris. Whit Norris is a very qualified veteran sound mixer who also happens to be a member of 695 of our local in the West Coast, has done movies all over the world, and does a really good job and all. If a production was coming into Atlanta, and because Atlanta, in Georgia, they would get the state incentives and all that sort of stuff, they hired locally, they would feel fine about hiring Whit Norris, but then the next production that comes in can't get Whit Norris because he's busy.
Right.
They have to look at who else is available. Okay, well, and I'm being a little extreme in saying there's nobody else, but during certain periods of time, there really wasn't anybody else. So they would really be taking a big chance at hiring the sound mixer, the department head locally. So they'd bring the department head from New York or from Chicago or from the West Coast, usually from either New York or the West Coast. And then they would hire locally, maybe the boom operator, maybe the utility person. But now, because there's so much production going on, there are a lot more qualified. You know, that sound mixer that only had 1 or 2 movies under their belt now has 4 or 5. So production comes in and they're fine. Let's hire that guy again. You know, and you know, even though we got kind of screwed up on the last one he did, you know, he's probably learned a little bit more, and they can get away with it. So. And we can't bring somebody from the West Coast because, geez, you know, the airfare and the per diem and the, you know, and all the rest of the stuff. So it's just snowballing to the point that, you know, it's pretty much, you know, and now that the state of California is offering some incentives, I don't think a lot of work is coming back here, but there's some work that was definitely planning on leaving is going to stay here, which is good.
Right.
You know, so production is picking up, mostly in television. Big feature films are still, you know, because when they've got a, you know, an $80 or $90 million budget, the fact that they can get 35, almost 40% of that budget paid for by the state of Georgia, you know, that's something that you don't want to turn your back on. You know, it would be physically irresponsible to say, I don't want to shoot in Atlanta. You know, let's shoot in LA. You know, and I have to qualify. We're shooting in LA means Los Angeles, not Louisiana. You know, because now when you say we're shooting in LA, there's a lot of people that think you mean Louisiana. You know, which, you know, the state initials are LA.
Yeah.
But so again, it's a sorry state of affairs.